Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I tried to make a nice little cozy setting tonight for this video, which is going to be a nice little sleepy time yoga video. So to get started, we're going to just pop into child's pose, open your knees wide and relax down to the floor. Now I kind of didn't design this practice, it was just kind of flow of conscious, what I thought would feel nice at that point in time, and I also try to keep all the poses to things that could be done in limited space. So what we're doing now is just walking over to one side to get a stretch in the side body. So it's still child pose, don't move from child pose, just kind of move the rest of your body over. And we're just going to go ahead and go to the other side. It's a little bit easier to see this way. So I tried to make this video with poses that could be done in a small space, and some of them could even be done in bed. Not all of them, but most of them can be done. So bring our hands back through to center. We're going to push up into our tabletop position with a flat back and then move into some cat and cow. So cat is when you arch your spine up and cow is when you drop your belly low. So just get some nice spinal movements in there. I struggle a lot with a stiff spine, so one of the first things I do every single morning as well as in the evening is just a little bit of cat and cow. So coming back to tabletop, we're now going to go into thread the needle. So reach your arm up high to the sky and bend down underneath yourself and reach your other arm on top. You're going to get a nice stretch in your back. Not going to stay there too long because it can be kind of uncomfortable for some people. And we're just repeating that on the other side. So reach up, thread your arm underneath your body, stretch, get a slight twist in your back, and then re-extend that arm and push back up. So now we're going to be moving into downward facing dog. So I'm just scooching myself back on the mat. Reach your arms a little bit out in front of you and then pike your hips up and back. So first we're going to alternate pedaling out our knees just to get some movement in there, stretch out our legs a bit. I'm wearing socks because my feet get cold very quickly, but please be careful with wearing socks for anything. It makes you more prone to slipping. So taking your first leg, we're going to reach straight up into the sky, get a nice stretch. And then, you can't really see here, but we're bending our knee, stretching out our hip. You might see it better on this next side. So reach that leg up to the sky, and you cannot see it, but we're just bending our knee and stretching out our hip. So now we're going to push forward into plank. Don't worry, we're not there for long. Go down to your knees and lower yourself to the ground. Now we're just going to do cobra, and when I'm in cobra I just like to shake. See the smile there, got a nice crack on my back, and that's exactly why I like to shake, kind of side to side. So just repeating that a second time, seeing if I can loosen anything else up, and then pushing back into our downward facing dog. Take your time here, there's no rush. Again, just pedaling a little bit. We're going to repeat this sequence now that we just did, except this time we're going to add in some hip circles to increase our hip mobility and just release any tension there. So same thing on the other side. Reach that leg up to the sky and bend your knee and do some hip circles. And now we're going to come forward into our plank position again, dropping to our knees and lowering to the floor. Pushing up, we're going to come a little bit higher this time, kind of closer to an upward facing dog, but not quite in between the two of them. And again, just trying to release any tension in our spine. Now we're going to come to take a seat on our knees and do just a little bit of a neck release sequence. So starting with your head facing down, gently roll it to one side and to the other, and when you reach the other side, big breath in and out in through your nose and out through your mouth. Just going to do this a couple of times, releasing any built up tension in our necks. I know I definitely do by the end of the day, so it just feels lovely to do this. Now coming back to center, just a few shoulder shrugs. Get everything moving, everything loosened up in there. So now we're going to reach our hands up to the sky. I honestly don't fully know what I was doing here, but it's like the forward shoulder would do was seated. And now we're just going to move into some side bends. Just getting a little bit of stretching in there. So with yoga, I don't believe, well, it can definitely be part of doing cool poses. I can't do a lot of the more difficult poses, because in its essence, yoga is with reconnecting with your body and nurturing your body. So that's exactly what we're doing in this practice. It doesn't matter how you look, it matters how you feel. So now coming back to our hands and knees, we're going to go ahead and push back into downward facing dog. And again, lifting that leg up to the sky, but now we're going to bring it forward and step it in between our hands, lowering the other leg down to the ground. We're just going to get a nice stretch into our hip flexors there. So as you see, I just lunge forward. You can either have your hands up high, as I do here, or in a minute, as you see here, you can bring them to rest on top of your knee, and you should be feeling a nice stretch in that area in the front of your thigh. I lost my balance there. And then we're just going to shift our hips back and go ahead and stretch out the back of our legs. I'm grimacing a bit there because it's a bit tight for me. It's good to do, but in the moment it's definitely not pleasant. So then shifting back forward, going to go back into our low lunge and step back into downward facing dog, just to transition to doing it on the other side. So reaching that leg up, step it forward in between our palms, lower your back knee down, reach your hands up to the sky, and go deeper into that lunge. That side was definitely tighter for me, as you can see from my face. It's a hurt so good type of situation, I believe. So now we're going to go ahead and push back and stretch out the back of our leg on this side. And then from here, go ahead, pop yourself back up into your downward facing dog before coming to a supine position on your back. Oh, sorry, no, we're not doing that yet, my mistake. Before we supine, you're going to come to take a seat on the mat and go into a butterfly position. Make this completely passive. You can either hold on to the tops of your feet or lay your hands out in front of you. You can't fully see my hands here. I'm sorry, could have improved that position a bit. We're just relaxing, stretching out our hips, letting our spine curve naturally how it wants to, and letting our head hang heavy. A good grounding pose here. So then gently push yourself up. And now is when we're going to come into the supine position. Just doing a little bit of loosening up there. Laying down on our backs. So, from here, you're going to lift your knee up, pull it in towards your chest. Do a little bit of circling movement, and then bring it over across your body into a supine twist. I can't really see, but you want to extend the opposite arm as far as it can go. I think on this side is where I heard a big pop, but if you couldn't tell, my back gets very tight. But this is one of those positions that's really good for your spine health, So if you just do this, first thing when you wake up in the morning or in the evening, whatever, it's just really good to do. So now we're just going to go ahead and do that as well on the other side. A little bit of movement. I'm shifting myself over a little bit there just so I don't crash into my closet doors. Still kind of a bit, but not as bad. So just stretching out. You can see my arms now come out. My other hand is just supporting on top of the knee there. This stretch can be quite intense, so if you need to go less far, that's completely okay. The whole point of yoga is again to nurture your body and to listen to what you need. So if you need to do a little bit less, do a little bit less. So now we're going to come into a position. When I first started doing yoga seriously a few years ago, I absolutely hated it. So we're coming into waterfall pose now. I thought it was quite hard. I didn't enjoy it. It does take a bit of core strength. So if you need help, you can pop a pillow or yoga block under your hips. But now I found it's just a really soothing and grounding pose, which also helps me anchor to my body and my mind. And I just feel at peace in this pose. It definitely took me a while to get there, don't get me wrong, but I'm glad I've grown to appreciate the pose now. We're just transitioning into happy baby. So go ahead and reach your hands to the outer part of your foot and just gently pull it down. Try to flatten your tailbone into the ground so you don't want any crazy rounding. And just you can gently rock side to side. I think that feels very, very nice. So just slight rocking, nothing too crazy. And now going to pull the both knees into your chest, form a little ball, and give yourself a nice big hug before going into Shavasana. Now with Shavasana, you can either have your hands up like I do here, or you can bring them down to your sides. So that either is fine. Listen to your body and to find out what it needs. So take this moment just to relax and thank yourself for taking the time to do this practice, to share this time with me, but mostly to share this time with yourself and for prioritizing yourself. Take another deep cleansing breath in Shavasana. Before you start, wiggle your fingers and your toes and come up out of it. Of course, you're more than welcome to stay in Shavasana for as long as you like, but thank you very much for joining me today.